everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Here we go. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a book review and discussion of The Proposal by Jasmine Gullory. So I read this book after reading Kingdom of Ash. No, by the time you see this, I will not have my review up of Kingdom of Ash because I still need to process that entire book. But I read this book after Kingdom of Ash because I definitely needed something lighter after that, because y'all know I'm not a big contemporary reader. I love fantasy, I love high fantasy, I love everything about it, but sometimes after certain fantasy books, like, I just can't, like, not because they're draining or they're bad, but because they have so many characters, so much going on that just makes me really happy. I love them. They make me really happy to read them. But sometimes it can just be so much emotion for me going through all this, the ups and downs. But anyway, The Proposal by Jasmine Gullory. So The Proposal is about, as you might have guessed, a proposal gone wrong. I was already annoyed by this proposal because, which is not a spoiler because you can read it on the inside flap. I was already annoyed by this proposal because Nicole or Nick, her boyfriend of 5 months, decides to propose to her at a LA Dodgers game, which is baseball for those who might not know. LA Dodgers game. And in front of thousands of people via the Jumbotron. And she, like I said, boyfriend of 5 months, people. 5 months. Not only did he propose to her, I was a boyfriend of 5 months, but he spelled her name wrong on the Jumbotron. He knows nothing about her, and they hadn't discussed this at all. Like, a wedding proposal or marriage proposal is something that you should probably discuss a little bit. Make sure your person you're with likes you even a little bit to consider it. And while thousands of people watched her, she systematically said no. I mean, she was like, don't do this here, you know, maybe we can discuss this later, we can totally discuss this later. And he's like, are you telling me no? Are you saying no in front of all these people? And basically she was like, yeah. And he stormed off like a baby and called her some terrible things, and she sat back down at the game by herself because he and his friends walked off and left her there. While she is sitting there, there are, of course, there's other people in the stadium, but there are a brother and sister duo, Carlos and Angie, sitting a few rows up behind her, who saw everything, and they're talking about it, and, you know, they're like, interesting, like, how can someone just propose to someone like that? Like, it feels like he didn't talk, you know, they're on her side, which is fantastic, because a lot of other people are not on her side. Because I guess people just feel like people should be forced to marry somebody just because they proposed in public. I don't know. But they see the camera crew coming to come talk to Nick, and they decide to spring into action and go down and basically save her by acting like they know her, you know, doing the whole, oh, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in forever. I just happened to see you on the screen and noticed you were down in front of me. How are you doing? How's your family? What's going on? You know, like, you know, just trying to be like pretend to be like her friend that they've known for a long time. Like, hey, you want to get a beer? Like, and so they walk with her out of the stadium and up, and they even give her a ride home, which, because she's in such awestruck, she's like, wait, did I just allow strangers to give me a ride? Did I just allow strangers to walk me out of the stadium? But he seems nice, so that's good. But she doesn't let her give him a ride home. She allows him to take her to the bar, where her friends are waiting for her, obviously, because she has a great girl squad, which is, sometimes I'm so jealous. I mean, I love my best friend, but she has a great girl squad, and they basically all get to hang out at the bar, talk about it, laugh about it, cry about it, all of that good stuff. And are with her friends, Courtney and Dana. Angie and Carlos, they go ahead and leave when it's time to look at all the nasty texts that her jerk of a boyfriend, Fisher, starts sending her. Carlos and Angie leave, and it just leaves the three of them, Nick, Courtney, and Dana, alone at the bar, their favorite bar, the bar they always go to. And after they sift through these awful text messages, they decide that Nick needs a rebound guy to get over Fisher. But of course she doesn't want one because all of her past relationships have been ending up in disaster, and she doesn't really want to deal with that. So she tries to swear off men and tries to just be on her own, be her own strong, black, independent woman, writer, all that kind of stuff. But she is unable to because someone keeps swooping back into her life, and then it goes on from there. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. Contemporary books are a little bit harder for me to review because I can't really do them in the same way that I do all my fantasy books, but I guess I'll just tell you kind of what I thought about this book. I enjoyed this book. I read it when I needed to read it, like instead of just reading it to read it. Like I read it at a good time for me, so I really enjoyed it. If I'm reading for pleasure, I really enjoyed it. It touched me. I had a good time reading it. It was so light. I literally read it in maybe, I don't want to say 12 hours because I started it at work and I finished it later, so I definitely didn't have 12 straight reading hours of time to read it. So it was really easy to read in the sense of reading it, but some parts were difficult to read because sometimes it would be difficult to tell who was talking or who was having their inner monologue type of thing. Not who was talking, because obviously that's in quotations and all that kind of stuff, but like sometimes the inner monologue would switch from Carlos to Nick to anybody. It would just keep switching, and so it was really hard to tell. And so it was sometimes just really hard to tell who was talking, and that was kind of annoying. But I liked the romance of it all. I don't know, because I kind of am like a hopeless romantic, so I liked the romance of it all. I liked their connection and their chemistry, even though sometimes they didn't always believe they were having that chemistry. And I think that's pretty common in relationships, especially when you start off as just like friends with benefits. I think that that's sometimes common, no matter how many times people say that they want to just be friends. I honestly think that notion is impossible. Like, if you're going to be friends with somebody, you're not going to sleep with them, in my opinion. But to each their own. I don't care. But yeah. So, what else? I liked Nick as a character because I liked that she wanted to be strong. She wanted to be strong. She wanted to deal with her emotions, but she didn't let herself become cold or disinterested or distant. She stayed close with her friends. She kept pushing. She did things that made her feel good about herself, and I think that's always important in terms of self-care, things like that. And I liked that she kind of kept her relationship or her feelings for her relationship kind of at arm's distance, just so she didn't feel like she was automatically tumbling into another one. Because I do think that relationship should grow organically. I love her best friends, Dana and Courtney. They are the kind of friends that you need, I feel like. They are supportive, but they're not going to let you wallow in self-pity or self-deprecation or anything like that. And I think that that's super important, and it's very necessary to keep you going and to keep you moving. I like and disliked Carlos because I felt like Carlos was always using something as an excuse to need to be there for someone versus dealing with his own problems. And I mean, there are other reasons why I don't like Carlos, but that would definitely be a spoiler, so I'm not gonna say that one because that would definitely be a spoiler, like without a doubt. And yeah, a lot of things happen. Well, I'm not gonna say a lot of things happen. It is a contemporary, so there's no twists or turns like there are in fantasy. Like, it's pretty straightforward. Like, you probably already know how this ends because it's a contemporary. Like, don't try and play with yourself. But I enjoyed it. I needed it at the time that I was reading it. I needed something light and airy and fluffy, and I got it, and I enjoyed it, and I told my boyfriend if he ever proposes to me like this, we just will have problems. Just problems, and I'm just saying, we'll have problems. But anyway, like I said, I'm never very good at reviewing contemporary books. I am sorry. I'm sorry. If you're looking for something light and fluffy, this is for you. If you're looking for something truly emotionally in depth, this is probably not for you. It doesn't dive too deeply into too many emotions, but it definitely helped me to feel lighthearted. So, you know, if that's what you're looking for, this is good for that. So overall, I'd probably give this book 4 stars, just because of some of the writing in it. Some of the writing in it I did not enjoy, but for what I needed it to do, it did its purpose. So I can understand why there are lower reviews out there for people who truly read contemporary and romance and things like that. I can understand why there are lower reviews out there for this book, but like I said, for me, it's a 4-star book because of how it made me feel and what I needed it to do for me. So there it is. But that's it for me, y'all. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to follow me on all the social medias. And don't forget to look at my blog, because hopefully I'll have a more cohesive, coherent review of this book on my blog when I can type out my thoughts and feelings. And like I said, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And until next time, keep turning the pages.